just take it easy, guys, and just remember to give yourself some love, especially around these crazy times in the US. There's a lot happening energetically. One of the things that I will say that's been in my mind a lot is this political situation where there's a lot of division and they want us to be divided. So, regardless of whether you're Republican or Democrat, my advice is to stop making each other the enemy and understand that it's not everybody's intention is good. Everybody does something because they're trying to do good in their minds, even though they're going about it maybe not the best way. And my advice right now is to stop feeding that division because that is exactly what they want. Um, so it's important to changing our perspectives about that and start seeing our enemies not so much as our enemies. Okay, I have family from both sides, from the left and the right, and it's just crazy to me how they're doing the same thing to each other. And it's like, guys, okay, you can have different point of views, but the whole point of it is so that you can find a middle ground. And as long as you keep being enemies, you're never going to find a middle ground. And division is just going to get bigger and bigger and bigger until the point that something bad really might happen for people to eventually wake up. And we don't want that. So just remember that, guys. Regardless of your point of views, be graceful towards people who don't know any better, who don't understand any better. Try to change your perspective of it because it triggers me because when I go to my husband's house, his mom is always like, she's very political, and so she always is like, oh, those Democrats and da 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 da, and you're like, but they feel the same way about you, dude. So I was like, why don't you just like, it's just like they become objectified and they become all the same, and it's like not everybody is the same. It's not that black and white, and so it's hard for me to take in that energy sometimes. I don't stand from any side. I try to stand in the middle with everything and just see both perspectives because I think for me it's the right thing to do for me. And again, I want to unite, not divide. But yeah, it's going to give you a little bit more peace of mind, guys. And I know you have your views, and I know you can be strong on it. I'm not saying you got to change your views. I'm just saying be graceful for those who have their own. It's like the same coin, just a different side. And so it might just bring you a little bit more peace. Yes, there are bad people, and most of them are in the position of power. They're not the ones the little people, us. It's the people who are in power who are manipulating and doing games. And I just even encourage you that if you are from the left, as much as it's going to be painful, watch the things from the right. And if you are from the right, watch the things from the left. Educate yourself on all spectrum. And again, you don't have to agree with it. But if it's triggering you that bad, then that's a shadow within you. That's a mirroring. And so if you can watch both sides, then it's not so much of a shadow that's coming up. It's more like you can actually take in information for what it is, and then you don't have to take it in as truth. You're just observing. So just a little bit of unsolicited advice there. But it's also been a message that came through because I think this is like important because we can get very, very stuck in and involved because, depending on what you're watching, guys, you're going to get influenced whether you like it or not. And I noticed myself, yeah, you can't watch either. And that's fine. If you don't want to watch it, that's fine. If you don't want to get involved. But, it does help to try your best to see the other person's perspective and try to see what you have in common, even though it's a very fast stretch. Absolutely, Tina. I'm with you. Mainstream media is full of crap. I'm with you 100%, which is they're totally manipulated. But I think by now everybody kind of caught on to that, or most people. Yes, and it just how it is. The media is what feeds the masses. And if I was wanting to manipulate the masses, well, guess what would I do? So you got to also think in that kind of point of view. It's like if I was a power-hungry, evil person that I want to control the planet, what would I do? And again, this is why I'm saying, like, try to go from both perspectives because neither side means bad. They're both just brainwashed. And both mean well, both want the best. It's just that they're both they're like designing each other to be against each other, and that's what they want. Remember, when we're united, we're very powerful, but when we're separated, we're weak. We're very easily influenced. We're very, very easily manipulated. We're very easily programmed. And so that division makes us weak. And so it makes us, because it creates fear energy, creates anger energy, creates all sorts of negative energy that doesn't allow us to see things for what they are. And so that's when we get brainwashed. So I don't watch the news. I do sometimes only when I go to my husband's house, my husband's mother's house, because she always has it on. And so I see some stuff. Of course, I'm realizing, even myself being on social media, I'm noticing myself getting brainwashed. And I was like, holy crap. Like, I'm like, yeah. And then I'm like, wait a minute. That's, I was like, do I really think that? Or am I just like believing what I'm hearing? And again, how do you really get the facts? Because one side is saying one thing, the other side is saying the other thing. So who is telling the truth anymore? And so that even creates even more fear. And then one side is like, no, the media is not corrupted because, they need to hold on to that trust. And it's like, but when you kind of start seeing one thing and the other, it's like, well, who is telling the truth? Which is why I'm encouraging you just to look at both sides, because they edit things a certain way for one side and it looks true. And then the other side, they edit it to look another way. And then you're like, that looks true. So it's like, who is telling the truth? And so it gets really messy. And I don't want to confuse you anymore. I just want you guys to understand that the most important thing is to unite, even with the people that you don't agree with, even with the people that you don't like. I know a lot of people that I don't agree with. I know a lot of people who I don't like their point of views. It's a constant thing as a vegan. I have people telling me all the time that I'm going to die of protein deficiency. 15 years later, I'm still working out at the gym for 2 hours a day and I seem to be fine. So, but at the same time, if I react with that anger, with that immediate, you're the enemy and you don't know what you're doing, we're going to get nowhere. But if I walk in with the perspective of, you really just mean well and you're actually trying to protect me because you're afraid that if I die or if I get ill, and, really you mean well. So if you can change your perspective, both are true. Both are true, both can be valid. So which one is serving and which one is causing more problems? And so how can I be of service in this situation? And sometimes I still get triggered, it still happens. It's not like it's always easy. There are certain things that really still trigger me very much, but those are the things that I need to work on. Absolutely, and be your most authentic, but what's amazing as well is like the more you kind of see it from that perspective, nothing really bothers you anymore as well. It's so much easier to have those debates. And if you get really angry and frustrated and react with anger and you're like, well, fuck you and fuck this, then you've lost. You lost the debate. It's those people who can just sort of, you still don't have to agree, but if you can hold your power, hold your stillness, and hold your space, absolutely, those are the people that usually, you might not win the argument, but you won the debate. You know what I mean? So energetically you won because you're like, cool, I don't agree, but I'm still going to stand by my values. But I'm so grateful that you shared this information with me and it's something for me to think about. That's really the way it should be. That's really the way I see it. And that's also the stuff they've been telling me lately. I've been getting some downloads about that where they're like, this is how politics should really be. The whole point of it is to find a common ground. But we're doing the complete opposite of that. And it's really causing a lot of issues between each other. And we're allowing that to happen. And so I guess my message today is, guys, don't allow that to happen. You might still hate somebody and might still think they're an absolute douchebag. But if you can see it from the higher perspective, you would know that they don't mean to do that. They're not, yes, there is evil. Yes, there are bad people. I'm not trying to say that that's not the case, but most people mean well. And if it's bad, just walk away. You don't have to watch it. You don't have to see it. You don't have to deal with it. Just go, yeah, cool. You know what? You're absolutely right. And just keep going, Just don't give your power away. Yeah, interesting. We got political, but I guess that makes sense. But I hope it's a different message out there for you guys, and it's something for you to think about, because I just feel like it's causing families to break up, it's causing friendships to break up. And I always enjoy hearing people's perspectives. It's, to me, it's I like to educate myself as best as I can, and even if it's not the most I don't know, educational point, but still like, oh, cool, you think like that. That's good to know. All right. So if you guys don't have any questions, I think we're going to be done today. Leaving you on that thought, just remember to unite and not divide around this time and be accepting and not to bring more hate and whatever else is going on because I'm gonna lie, it's kind of worrying. I don't care what happens in the end of it. I just more care about how we treat each other throughout it. I don't think we have as much control over this as much as we think we do personally, but you know, I don't know everything either. So, be nice if I did though. But at the same time, would life be boring if I had the answer to everything? I don't know. Oh, guys. All right. I appreciate you guys hanging out. For those of you who are the first time, I really hope that is what is a bit scary. What, knowing everything? I hope you guys really enjoyed the live today. It's so awesome just to hang out and just to chill and just to, do our thing. I will let you guys know if I'm going to do more readings. Yeah, I'll just see how my schedule goes. By the way, I did a new video. Aha. I wrote a new book. This is really cool. It's a 32 days to affirm your way to wealth. It's only $9 on Amazon. I made it like super, super cheap. So this is like a workbook for those of you who want to work on your scarcity mindset, money stuff. I used my married name, which is Jacqueline Joyce, not Jacqueline Albergoni. Oh, good, Sandy. I appreciate you. You know what's cool, Sandy? My husband's grandfather's name is Sandy. So when I saw you, it just kind of reminded me of him. So it's very cool because I take you through shadow work. You do a little bit of shadow work. It's for 32 days to do this exercise. And then I give you a whole bunch of affirmations. And you essentially work through every day to build up from a poverty mindset. If you're in debt, if you're in lack, if you're struggling to get out of some sort of money mindset, this is essentially designed to help you get out of it. And the cool thing is it's not like a crazy exercise. It's just more about dedicating like 10 minutes every morning or at night just to do this. I would suggest morning because you have to repeat the affirmations throughout the day. I give you like a ton of affirmations to find one that resonates with you. And then throughout your day, you repeat that one affirmation that contradicts the shadow so you can reprogram that shadow that you had figured out. And it goes from like identifying limiting beliefs to recognizing patterns, embracing risk-taking, overcoming self-doubt, practicing generosity, surrounding yourself with abundance, setting boundaries, creating financial plan. So by the end of this, you will have like a pretty clear idea of how to build a plan for yourself and whether you want to invest, whether you want to do stuff like that. This is basically all stuff that I've done for myself. So I wrote it and I wanted to share it. So if this is something that interests you, just so you know, it's going to be on Amazon. Cool, little self promotion there. But I know some of you are struggling with that. So just something for you guys to think about. All right, guys. Well, I'm so glad to